Hello, LISD family, and welcome to our very first podcast. You see it right there, the Lewisville Independent School Podcast. We actually are going to have a name for it one of these days, but for right now, we're just going to call it a podcast. We have some awesome guests with us today that we're going to talk to in just a minute, but first I'd like to tell you a little bit about our goals and objectives for the program, and they're really very simple. It's to consistently show that LISD is the best choice in your child's education. That's all we're trying to show. We know there are choices, and we want to make sure that our viewers are armed with the correct information so you guys can help us. You can go out and help spread the great word of LISD. So each month, we're going to discuss topics that make LISD stand out from all the rest. We're going to have guests. We're going to talk to some big players in the district. We're going to be talking to parents. We're going to be talking to teachers. We're going to be talking to administrators. You never know who we're going to have in here. And you're going to hear and see things that hopefully you've never heard before. That's going to be a big key. And we're going to do all this within an entertaining and an enjoyable format. That's our plan anyway. So let me talk just a minute about our production team. First of all, this is a complete student-run operation. The people running our cameras, the audio, the graphics, everybody around us, they're all students. And that's really awesome. And their teachers are here to help them, so we're really excited about doing that and about having our team like that. And we're coming to you from the beautiful PreK-West studios out here. It's the Career Center West, PreK-West. We're right in the middle of the complex here in this awesome podcast facility. So we're really excited. And just a little later in the program, we're going to have Justin Gilbreath on with us, who's the director out here, to tell us a lot more about PreK-West. But first, I'm ready to introduce you to our first guest. She has a master's degree in education. She is the director of the LISD Early Childhood Literacy and Programs Administrator. Some people just call her Miss PreK. We have Miss Heidi Veal with us.
Hello.
Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for welcoming me today and the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, I tell you what, I can't think of a better way to start. I mean, here we are with our very first podcast, our very first launch, and we're talking to you, the director of PreK, where PreK is also the very first exposure that a child gets to education and to LISD.
That's right.
So to me, that's a great way to start, right?
Start at the beginning. Start with PreK.
Well, I wanted to start with this. In our little pre-production meeting last week, I told you about this little statement that I ran across from Duke University that I'll tell you my opinion of it in just a minute, but let me read it. It says, according to numerous studies, children attending publicly funded pre-K programs are better prepared for kindergarten and elementary beyond. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind is that's a no-brainer to me. That's that's a duh statement as far as I'm concerned, because correct me if I'm wrong, but in pre-K, isn't that kind of where it all starts, with self-confidence and social skills and attitude, right?
Absolutely. Those are the beginning foundational skills that will take a human being through their entire life, and it starts in pre-K, building that foundation.
Well, and I know that I talked to when I was talking to a lot of students and doing my little training presentations to them, I had one on attitude that I really liked. I just really liked that one, and we talked about that all the time, about how self-confidence and competency and attitude and all these things go. These are things that prepare, in my opinion, students for their life, for their career, for their relationships. And so it all starts right there in pre-K, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna move. I've got lots of different questions I'm going to ask you, but first, I need to tell everybody about one of our sponsors today, and that is DATCU. So, if you're in the market for a new financial home, you might want to consider DATCU. They are longtime supporters of LISD and great friends of our schools, teachers, and kids. This financial co-op opened their doors in 1936 as a teachers' credit union, and they remain deeply committed to our schools, but today can serve anyone. They have free checking, all types of loans, including home loans, a cashback credit card, and much more. So if you're looking for convenience, No problem. You can do transactions from your home 24/7 and with 12 branch locations and over 55,000 free ATMs. 55,000 ATMs. You'll have easy access to your money. Their commitment to this community is unmatched. Give the fine folks at DATCU, that's DATCU, a call today. They're ready to welcome you to the local credit union where you will feel like family. And now we get to talk to Heidi Veal. Once again, thank you very much. I know you have a tight schedule. Thank you for coming by today.
Well, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
So, first of all, respond a little bit to what I was saying there about that Duke University statement about preparing kids just for kindergarten and maybe first grade or so.
Well, goodness, a firm and great beginning start in pre-K is way more than just being prepared for kindergarten or the elementary years. Quite honestly, a great pre-K education in a school district prepares a child for their entire life. It is pre-K to 12 and beyond. There's so many studies that set up what you just said, but also say that our students who attend our pre-K programs are going to have greater success in lifetime, greater opportunities, will be more likely to go to college and have firm, well-paying careers and solid families. There's even studies that support the health of children, not just in their childhood years, but because of that strong early foundation in pre-K, healthy habits for lifetimes. So the benefits are almost innumerable. We couldn't name them all. But the social emotional piece and talking about those soft skills, that's really one of the main focuses of our early childhood programs in LISD. We teach the whole child. And so we're really looking at their social emotional well-being first and foremost, and then build off of that.
I tell you what, I couldn't agree with you more. I've thought that all along. Of course, when I was going to school, you started kindergarten. I mean, that was it. You didn't even have the pre-K opportunity. So, and then they started teaching you stuff, and there wasn't any discussion on self-confidence and competency and attitude and all of those things. Of course, it was a different time, but I can really see these days how crucial that is and how that would be such a mainstay, and that's something that I would welcome that so much if I was a parent, with a pre-K child. I would just really welcome that they would start with that.
Absolutely. I even knew, as an educator, I knew it was important for my children as a parent to have a good, firm foundation in supportive, nurturing early childhood settings in pre-kindergarten. And honestly, my hope for my kids is that they would be happy learning at school, safe and happy with their teachers, nurtured and growing. The academics are going to come. They're going to learn that's going to happen in the later years. But getting that safe, focused learning with friends and feeling safe and nurtured with their teachers and growing in confidence as a learner, you can't put a price tag on that.
Oh, that's so well said. You're absolutely right. So, kind of along those lines, I'm going to give you a few minutes or a minute or so to brag on LISD a little bit, to brag on the pre-K department that, so many of the things that I do in the marketing department are all based upon what I call what sets LISD apart. And in almost every presentation I make, if you look at our marketing ads, you look at our website, bestschoolsintexas.com, everything in there is based upon what really sets LISD apart from our competition. And people say, well, what do you mean competition? Well, we have a lot of competition. We compete. Not only do we compete against other schools, even in public education, we're competing against charters and private schools, and now we're even competing against homeschooling. And so we are always trying to make sure that we're putting LISD out front. We know it. We know what these things are, but the goal is to get everybody else to hear these things.
Yes.
So brag a little bit about it and tell us what makes the pre-K department really stand out.
Absolutely. Well, this is one of my favorite things to do, so stop me
You go
if
right
I get
ahead.
out of hand. First and foremost, I think it's our teachers. They have such a huge impact on our students. I honestly, I couldn't brag on them enough because they are the heroes of the early childhood program. They're so invested and dedicated and committed. They are the teachers who, that is the career, that is their aspiration, is to serve our youngest learners in the district. That's where they want to be. And it's so much more, like we've already talked about, it's so much more than pre-academics. It's not just the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. That happens, and they do have a lot of amazing, incredible, blow your mind pre-academic learning in our LISD pre-K programs, but also the nurturing and the social emotional development that our students experience. It's really beyond compare. Um, the type of social emotional learning that we provide is through a really special program called Conscious Discipline, where our students learn about how do I handle things when I feel upset? How do I calm down? And all of those skills open their mind to learning more interesting and deeper concepts. Some other things that really set our pre-K programs apart are things like our STEM enrichment. Did you know that we have a pre-K STEM curriculum written by our LISD pre-K teachers, and I help too. But what other district has a pre-K curriculum for STEM?
Pre-K STEM.
Yes, with coding and robotics and programming elements. So our pre-K kids are getting that foundation also, and they're learning together, not in isolation, but with their peers. So the teamwork, the collaboration, and communication. Talk about communication. Language development is a huge, huge part of our pre-K programs. Social emotional language development and the pre-academics. Those are kind of like 3 pillars that we could stand on. Oral language is so important for our kids. Many of our students come in with a million plus more word gap. Some studies even say some of our students who qualify for pre-K, just narrative public school pre-K programs, have as high as a 30 million word gap just because of the elements in their life and the reasons that they qualify for pre-K. They're coming to us because the education we provide. And so we're providing rich vocabulary instructions and experience, hands-on experiences, exposing them to new and exciting things and laying a foundation for their learning now and going into kindergarten in the early years, but they're learning beyond for a lifetime.
Absolutely amazing. And already I think we've hit upon one of those things that are going to stand out that hopefully our viewers and our listeners would think, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that LISD has a STEM pre-K kind of a merged thing together? That's incredible. I didn't even know that. So
it's exciting. And to see the kids using those beginning coding concepts, and we go from as simple as unplugged coding, which means nothing electronic, no robotics involved, but just learning those basic directional concepts and vocabulary words. It's really remarkable.
I remember not too long ago I interviewed a parent, and one of the things he said, which I'll never forget, he said that this district, it's just absolutely amazing what this district does to prepare our students for life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
that's the goal.
It really is, and you know, and it starts. And of course, we were talking about all the way through high school, and in the B block today, we're going to be talking to Justin Gilbreath about these career centers, about how these prepare students for life in their career.
Right.
But when you go all the way back to the beginning and think about what we do, what this district does to start that preparation process in pre-K, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, so as far as some FAQs, you know, I'm sure that you guys get a lot of questions. You get a lot of calls and, well, what about this? What about that? Am I right in the assumption that maybe one of the most popular questions you get would be who qualifies?
That is probably one of the biggest questions that we get. And so I'd love to answer that now.
You go right ahead.
So, yes, we do follow, of course, the Texas state standards and guidelines for pre-K qualification. So the state sets out those qualifications, and we abide by those. So still, students who qualify for pre-K and LISD for free state-funded pre-K are either learning English as a second language or qualify by income. There are also children who qualify because of if they're homeless or if they have an active duty military parent or guardian, or if their parent or guardian received the Star of Texas Award. And then also if they have ever been in the state of Texas foster system, even if they were in the foster system as an infant or just a month of their lifetime, as long as it was in the state of Texas, they have access to free state-funded pre-K in LISD.
Okay, awesome. All right. Now, does that kind of fall right into the tuition-based opportunities?
Well, and we also have tuition-based opportunities as well, and those come through Discovery Academy. And a really great perk for our LISD employees is that we also offer some employee-based pre-K classrooms at our flagship early childhood center, Lily J. Jackson in central Lewisville.
Okay, awesome. Now, also, I know that one of the questions has got to be now, okay, where are these preschools? Where are
Yes.
pre-K? Where within the 68 campuses are they? So can you give us just a quick thought of that, or maybe where people can find that out?
Sure. Well, there's too many campuses that have pre-K for me to name them all. So that's exciting news. We have pre-K at 20 of the elementary campuses in LISD. So as far as the east is from the west, from north
there
to
will
south
always
in the
be one
district.
close by, right?
That is exactly right.
To anybody in the district.
Yes. And we provide a feeder chart on our pre-K website where parents can check and know, based on the school that I'm zoned to attend for elementary, if that campus has pre-K. And if they don't, look on the feeder chart to find out, oh, this is the campus that my child will go to if they qualify.
Awesome. Okay. And we're going to throw out the name of the website and the phone numbers for questions here in just a second.
Yes.
How about just a real quick, the normal day, what I call the day in the life of a pre-K student? What is it like for our students? What do they go through during the course of a day?
Great. So one thing to say here is that we do offer both full day and half day classes. So I'll just kind of run down a typical day in the life of a full day class because that'll kind of cover the whole gamut. Of course, students will be welcomed into the classroom with greetings and have those morning routines of where to put things, where to take, get settled for the day. The class will always start with a morning meeting or circle time, and that is just a time for the classroom family to come together and connect as a school family community. So they're doing conscious discipline routines, like if a classmate is absent, they do a routine called Wish You Well, and they make their commitments for the day. They choose their commitment, like I'm going to use an inside voice today, or I'm going to use helping hands. So our students make their commitments. They kind of get the gist for the day, and then they might transition to a read aloud, so some kind of literacy focus in the morning. There will also be center time, and that is play-based learning in centers that are choice centers. All of our classrooms have a minimum of 7 choice centers available that span from mathematics to library to literacy focused and even fine motor development. During that time, usually teachers are pulling small groups, and so our pre-K students receive small group instruction on our Texas pre-K guidelines based on our students' instructional level. So it's incredible to think that even in pre-K, they're receiving small group instruction based on the skills and the things that those individual students need to practice and learn to flourish at the next level.
Incredible.
Breakfast.
There's
I
another,
know. So awesome.
did you know? Most people say, I did not know that.
Yes. Something else you might not know, both breakfast in our full day classes, both breakfast and lunch are included as part of the instructional framework. So pre-K classes, they go to breakfast and they go to lunch during their school day. That's different from kinder through 5th grade.
It's got to be. And so many of the things that I think you've mentioned, in addition to the number of locations, are so different than our competition. And those are, once again, the things that make us stand out. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I like to ask this question to just about anybody that I do a video interview with, and I call it, if you can kind of use the analogy of the parent on a fence.
Okay.
And they have so many choices. They have so many different directions that they can do. But in this case, there's a parent on the fence that's trying to make their decision on whether to homeschool, whether to come to LSD, and there are always these decisions out there. But in this case, it may be pre-K. Why should a parent make a decision to place their child in LSD pre-K?
Well, if their child qualifies for pre-K, then in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. LISD is the best first start for them and place to be. They will be nurtured and taught by Texas certified teachers. The classroom ratios are 11-1. We have 2 adults in every classroom, so there's a high level of supervision. All the staff on the campus, like our pre-K students, have access to the counselor. Our full day classes, again, did you know, they go to specials classes. Our Texas education law does not require pre-K and full day classes to participate in specials or enrichment classes. So that's another amazing thing. They go to either art, music, or PE once a day for a brief period of time. Those are just unique things that set us apart. So, yes, if your child is 4 years old on or before September 1 of the enrolling school year and they qualify for pre-K, this is where you want them to be, is in LISD pre-K.
I could not have said that better myself. That's an awesome reason why they need to jump off the fence and make that decision.
Jump right in.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Everything you need to know about the LISD pre-K program you just heard from Ms. Heidi Veal. Thank you so much for being here today. And you gotta do me a favor. You gotta come back in maybe 4 or 5 months. We'll do another one, and you'll get to tell us about the sold out pre-K program.
With Discovery Academy?
Yes. And how you're having to make plans for the future because it's all sold out.
That's
because
awesome.
it's that awesome of a program.
It's very popular.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. When we come back, Justin Gilbreath, the director of PreK-West, will be with us. We'll be right back.
When I think of Lewisville Independent School District, the first thing that comes to mind is opportunity. The opportunity to excel, the opportunity to face adversity, the opportunity to put yourself out there in ways that you may not have thought when you were younger.
Teachers in the LISD aren't just educating our students, they're preparing them for life.
One of the things I can say about Lewisville ISD is that it did a tremendous job preparing me for after high school.
Lewisville Independent School District is an all-encompassing school district in my mind. Not only is it giving my children excellent educational opportunities, it's providing a safe, comforting, loving location, which as a parent is exactly what I'm looking for.
I've been involved with lots of kids that have seen what kind of success they've had at the next level. Kids that weren't maybe in the top half of their class that have graduated University of Texas, maybe the 30% of their class, and they're now doctors. It's just incredible how this district prepares kids.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I would like to thank Heidi Veal for coming by. What a great interview that was on the LISD pre-K. And just as I had hoped, I know there'll be a lot of you out there that said, I did not know that, because I know that's happened to me. I mean, there were several things that she talked about. So if you need to reach out to her and get further information about our pre-K, you can always go to lisd.com/pre-K, or you can reach them directly at 469-948-8227. That's 469-948-8227. And one thing she told me on her way out, she said to remind me to tell you, if your child is 4 years old on or before September 1st of the enrolling school year, if they qualify, the qualifiers that she talked about, they're always enrolling. So keep that in mind. All right. Well, as I said earlier, we are broadcasting from the beautiful PreK-West studios right in the middle here of the PreK-West Career Center. And we are so blessed today to have the director of the PreK-West Career Center here, Mr. Justin Gilbreath. He's going to talk about what's being offered to our tech-oriented students. So, first of all, welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Bill. It's great to be here.
Well,
Even though I'm here daily.
Oh, you're here every day,
It's
right?
a privilege and an honor to meet with you today. So.
Well, you know, I've toured out here, I guess, a couple of times, and it's just, I love to come out here, and we're going to talk about that. If you guys haven't been out here yet, you need to come out here and take a look around to see what's going on. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Before I get into my questions for Justin, I need to tell you about our second sponsor of the show. So let me tell you a little bit about one of our outstanding LISD partners and new sponsors for our podcast, and that is Sampac 5-Star Ford. Wherever you may be in the Metroplex, and if you are looking for a Ford dealer who is trustworthy, look no further than Sampac 5-Star Ford in Lewisville. Their service team can service your Ford car, your truck, or large RVs or Mack trucks. I bet you didn't know that. Large RVs and Mack trucks, and much more. They have an awesome customer service lounge area with workstations and offer a free shuttle. Sampac 5-Star Ford cares about our community. They are involved with our local law enforcement agencies, our schools, and more. Sampac 5-Star Ford has been recognized as a 2020 President's Award winner for their dedication to providing the ultimate dealership experience. And they've been voted the best in Denton County for the last 3 years running. Check them out at 5starfordlewisville.com. You'll be glad you did. Well, as I said, Justin, what a phenomenal facility out here. I mean, just a beautiful place. My first question is, in your wildest dream, in your wildest imagination, probably maybe hanging out at Northgate at Texas A&M, did you ever sit back and think that you would be in charge of one of the most prestigious high school career centers in the country?
No, I really didn't. And when I graduated high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. One of two things, I guess, really caught my eye. One was being an ag teacher, because that was what I enjoyed doing in high school. Another one was being a police officer. And I was lucky enough to get into A&M and go to school down there and study and become an ag teacher, and did that in Lewisville ISD for the first 7 years of my career. And growing up, my dad was the director of career and technology in Garland, and so I had big shoes to follow, big shoes to fill on the family side of things. And really, he was the inspiration, and it all I had ever been around was CTE programs, and so that kind of gave me a leg up, and just knowing about all the different opportunities that kids could have, and really the options to pursue the passions that they had to study for their future. And so that's really what drove it.
You've done just a phenomenal job, and your whole cast and crew out here, I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. We're going to get into that in just a minute. And to kind of carry along those same lines, in our little pre-production meeting, we talked about the elevator speech, and for you guys that ever heard of elevator speech, you don't know what it is. You're on the 15th floor of a building, and you step in an elevator, and you're going to go all the way down to the first floor, and somebody is there with you. You have that amount of time to tell them whatever you want to tell them about who you are, what you do. So, as I mentioned to Heidi Veal before, I had her, it's all based upon what sets LISD apart. And this, obviously, just having this facility is one of the huge things that sets us apart. But give us a 30-second elevator speech of PreK-West.
I guess at PreK-West and in CTE and LISD, we have something for everyone. And not just here, but at our partners over at Career Center or at Tech East. There's opportunities for kids to pursue anything that they're interested in, and whether they're college bound or career bound or both, we really thrive on preparing kids for their future and being successful and earning certifications and making them ready upon graduation for them to pursue whatever it is that they're interested in. So, on our campus, we've got quite a few trades as opposed to what they offer over at Tech East. Real trade focused over here. The facility itself is absolutely outstanding, and provides students with industry standard equipment that gets them ready to be what they want to do and where they want to go. So, that's the thing that we are most proud of, and my staff works hard to really provide those authentic learning opportunities for kids.
One of the things I said when I was talking to Heidi too was that an interview that I did not too long ago with a parent who actually is a former LHS student himself, but one of the things he said has always stuck with me. He said that this district, LISD, what they do, how far beyond the normal call of duty that they go to prepare our students for the next step, and to prepare our students for life in general, he said is absolutely amazing. And I really, really believe that. I mean, we're talking from pre-K, all the different things that I've heard today about pre-K, all the way up to these phenomenal career centers that we have, both Tech East and Tech West. The preparation that you guys do for students these days is absolutely phenomenal. It really is.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
The one of the things that we also, you and I talked about in our little pre-pro meeting, and you know, I always have to say, in my opinion, on a couple of these things, but you know, I like to look at the when I talk about kids going to college versus a career center. I know in my personal case, I wasn't able to go to college right off the bat. It was a real later in life thing for me. But I always tell, when I would talk to students about this, I would always tell them, look, in my opinion, if you have the opportunity to go to college, absolutely do it. Go. But if you don't, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a death sentence. It doesn't mean that you're going to be working at a restaurant or working at fast food the rest of your life. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just doesn't mean that, especially when there's opportunities like this. So, I mean, don't you, in your opinion, also, would you agree that in that particular case that they should definitely consider the career center opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think we have three types of kids, and the three types of kids that we serve in our district are college-bound kids, career-bound kids, or both. And, you know, the opportunities that we have for students here on campus, you know, they learn a trade, they learn a skill, they get a certification. Should they choose to go on to college and further their education and post-secondary opportunities, you know, they can utilize that and work their way through school. You know, a good example of students that, you know, most of them are college-bound right out of the gate is our health science program. And, you know, the learning that takes place in our health science program on our campus is really second to none. I mean, these kids are getting hands-on, you know, truly detailed and just outstanding education from our qualified staff. I mean, we've got an RN that teaches, we've got an MA, and we actually have a doctor on staff that works with our kids to provide them that base knowledge of healthcare that's been so important in the last, you know, 12 months, especially with all the COVID stuff going on, so that they get an accurate representation of what that field is like. Some of the kids get involved in that and they realize, you know, this might not be for me. And that's okay. And, you know, it's better to figure it out now in high school than it is to go and get a degree in it and then start working it and figure it out at that point. You know, so I think it really depends, and it really boils down to the individual student. And our goal is to help, if they find their interest, help them get as much as they can here. And some of them take things and they realize that's not really my first choice. And it's, like I said, it's better to figure it out now than later on down the road if that's possible for them.
Well, a great point. It's really, really a good point. Now, you know, when I was on your website the other day, I counted, I don't remember, it was 18, 19, or 20 or major offerings that you offer out here. I wish we had enough time in this podcast for you to kind of briefly talk about every one of them, but we don't. But so, what would be the most popular? I know there's some new ones that have come out we're going to talk about in just a minute, but overall, would it be the health sciences or would it be something else that?
You know, we see a lot of kids in welding. Our collision numbers are high, and our health science program is.
Collision numbers are high out into the real force out there, the real world. So I can understand why that need is there.
There's a need for all of our trades that we offer here on campus out in the real world, and you know, it's going to continue to grow because, you know, the research has shown and the data has shown that the workforce in that area, you know, they're starting to get to that age that they're hanging it up, and there's not enough people to come in behind them to fill the need, you know, and that's going to be a challenge, and we hope to we hope to provide the workforce with as many as we can in our area to meet our local needs here in our community.
Well, I know that, as I said, I mean, and you could, if you would, talk about some of the new programs that are being offered, but spoiler alert, I'm going to throw out two of them here that we talked about the other day that are very near and dear to me because I've used them in so many of my presentations, mainly to students, as far as being, in my opinion, two of the most, how can you say, the most active or the most, that have the highest job security and could possibly put these students in a. Still down because I still can't connect, but some of my students have been able to. This is live television, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. And we're talking to Mr.
Excuse me,
Gilbreath
just a
here, who
second.
is the main guy in charge. So you never know what's going to happen here.
Internet's been intermittent the last day or two. So.
No problem. So two of those that are so important that I feel are HVAC and electrical. That's heating, venting, and air conditioning, and electrical. So I know it was a spoiler alert on some of your new ones, but if you can just tell us a little bit about those two programs and then some of the other new offerings.
Well, I can tell you those two programs are going to be extremely important as we prepare kids to go out into the field, and I would go on a limb and say the need for that in today's workforce is huge. And if you don't believe me, for those of you that watch live TV, you know, I guarantee it at some point when you're watching live TV, you'll see some kind of commercial for Milestone Electric, A#1 Air. My 5-year-old likes to sing the song. You know, the 5-year-olds will sing the the phone number song.
And that's exactly the way they do it. They want you to know.
Absolutely. You know, but I would say we would have 100% job placement for those students that go through that program that come out and can make really good money right out of high school.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, where in the world can anybody go to be trained for a particular position and have the determination, very possible, of 100% job placement? Not only 100% job placement, paying very good money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At least $20 an hour or more. You
Yeah,
know,
and
we've
that's
got
just
some,
in the training stages.
Yeah, we've got some business partnerships with National Switchgear on the electrical side and AAA air conditioning, both here in Lewisville, Flower Mound area. And they've been working with our program and with our instructors, you know, and providing the equipment and the training and help with the whole jump start of that program. And so, you know, we're lucky that we have those contacts in the community and look to expand that as well, just to meet the need that we're going to have. And if you didn't ever think there was going to be a need for electricians, just remember the Snowmageddon of 2021.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what about some of the other new ones as well? I noticed you told me a little bit about the cybersecurity, right, and vet tech, and just a few of the other, just a few of them.
Yeah, so cybersecurity, one of our new programs here, is one of the fastest growing industries as far as workforce goes, and there's a real need for pretty much every large and even small corporation to protect data, protect individuals' data, protect company data, and that kind of thing. And you know, the feedback that we've gotten from our advisory board members is huge, and everybody, that's just a growing field. And as we move everything towards more technology use and things like that, and using the internet, and that continues to grow, it's almost going to have to be there, that you're going to have people that specialize in that to protect everybody.
It's just an absolute awesome array of programs that are being offered out here. It just blows me away every time I look at it. So how does a student get involved with CTE in the beginning? I mean, is this a discussion they have with their counselor? How does that process work?
Well, really, you know, students can get involved with CTE as early as middle school. They can take classes in middle school through 6th through 8th grade. But really comes down when they get into their high school. Planning starts in their 8th grade. They go through a 4-year plan out in the 8th grade of what they want to do and the kind of programs and the kind of things they want to be involved in high school. And it's at that point that, you know, they really come up with a sequence of courses, you know, whether it's regular courses or elective courses that they're interested in taking. And they meet with their counselors at their home campuses and, you know, basically put it down on paper and put that as their plan for high school. Some students obviously get into that and they change their mind, or because they want to pursue other opportunities, or if they had registered for athletics and got hurt, and can't continue in that, looking for other opportunities to participate and get involved in other programs. But that planning starts early. And so over here, we go off of course registration and, the number of requests that we have for our courses, and that's all done through their home campuses. And so if they sign up for courses at the career centers, then they do that at their home campuses, and then they come over to us once their schedules, once they get all their credits and things figured out and outlined for them for their plan.
Okay, awesome. So what's the best way that people can get in touch with you, get in touch with the center out here if they want to come out and take a look? What's the best way?
I think first off, I'd just say visit our website, and all my contact information is available there. Feel free to email me at any point. Be happy to discuss individual programs and certifications with anybody that has questions. And look forward to seeing some of these kiddos down the road here on campus.
Speaking of your website, there's a great video that our communications department did on, I think it's called This is PreK-West.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exceptional video that helps give people an idea of what this place looks like.
Absolutely. And there's also, that's a pretty big overview video. It's about 2.5 minutes long. In addition, there's a virtual tour that's offered there that people can go on and learn about each individual program. It's got student and staff interviews, and our AV department here at PreK-West, that we're sitting in the studio right now, did all of that work really back in the fall when we opened the campus. And so I'd encourage you to check out that video as well for more specifics on those particular programs.
Well, thank you so much, Justin, for being out here. Our director is telling me that it's time to kind of wrap up. We're running out of time, but I do encourage everybody, all of our viewers, if you have an interest in Career Center opportunity for your student, you've got to come out and take a look at our centers, Career East and our Career Center West, both of them, depending on what's maybe more convenient for you. And the course offerings, I know, are a little bit different too, and you can find all that online. But just absolutely exceptional facilities. You got to see it to believe it. I've said it 1,000 times, I know, before about and I'm sure you hear this all the time, that I wish this would have been around when I was in school. We had metal shop and wood shop.
Uh-huh.
That was it. And now to have all of these awesome opportunities that just not only prepare you, but they get you into job placement and just literally start your path in your career. It's just absolutely amazing to me. So
Absolutely.
It's just, you guys have just done a phenomenal job. So in closing, I'd like to first make sure, if you like what you've seen, if you like our podcast, make sure you like it if you're watching from YouTube, and share this video around. This will really help us get the great word of LISD out there, which is all we're trying to do. We have so much good things to say. We just have to get the word out. I'd like to thank the crew. I'd like to thank everybody out here at PreK-West for allowing us to do this. It's going to be our home for our podcast. I want to thank all of our crew, our cameras, our graphic people, our audio people. Everybody did a great job for our first podcast. I want to thank our guest, Miss Heidi Veal, and, of course, Justin Gilbreath with us today. Our sponsors, Sam Pack Ford and DATCU, really appreciate them. So we will see you next month. And so on behalf of all of us at LISD, we hope you've learned something new today, and we'll see you next month. Have a great day.